Oh, snap. Welcome back to the Mystery Project, y'all. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime, go ahead and hit the subscribe button on YouTube. If you've been waiting in there, hit the thumbs up button on YouTube. Welcome in. We have been live on TikTok. Shout out to TikTok. Y'all hit that follow button. Keep tapping the screen, too. Let's get 25,000 likes. Come on, y'all. Spread the word about the live stream. Share it out. Do all the things. We got some things to talk about tonight. Starting off with the sheriff dude that went in and the judge. Remember that? Yeah, he had an arraignment today. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about this lady. I think it was in New Jersey. And she is a special education teacher. Apparently she was with one of her students. Yeah. So that's crazy as hell. We're going to talk about that. And then the last one is this lady that apparently, well, she says she was coming home from the library, but she was wasted and there was a wreck on the road and she ended up hitting a firefighter that was there trying to help the wreck that had happened. So this is going to be a crazy one, y'all. Thumbs up the video if you're on YouTube, subscribe, TikTok, hit the follow button, keep tapping the screen like crazy. Thank you for hitting these things too, y'all. The little notice me things. That's all TikTok cares about tonight. Simply Samantha, thank you. All right, y'all. Let's go. I'm going to shut up now, and we're going to get this thing started.
Now let's turn to Kentucky for the arraignment hearing in the sheriff shoots judge murder case for Shawn Stines.
There's a case that shocked not just Kentucky, but people around the country. Former sheriff
The world
goes in and kills buddy who is a judge in his chambers. This was just a few months ago. This is the first time Stines will be back at that same courthouse. He made his initial appearance at a different courthouse, but he's back in the courthouse where this murder took place.
Surveillance video of the shooting was played during his court appearance.
That is crazy. They brought him back to the same place. So it happened in that courthouse and he goes back to that courthouse for his arraignment. Man, you are crazy as hell.
In October, it does show Stines talking with Judge Kevin Mullins in his office, and then you can see that the shooting begins. A grand jury has formally indicted Stines on the charge of a public official, but the indictment does not shed any new light on a possible motive for the shooting.
Let's go into the courtroom now in Kentucky. Shawn Stines is there to be arraigned.
Oh, here we go. By the way, can I get a volume check? Thumbs up on YouTube, thumbs up on TikTok. Is everybody good? Can you guys hear everything?
Stines is present with counsel.
Yes, you can.
And counsel that is Jeremy Hartley.
And as soon as I say that, her microphone is horrible.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor, and also the Honorable Gene Cox as well, Your Honor.
Sorry.
All right, how are you?
Well,
Thank you.
now, Commonwealth was represented this morning by Mr. John Green.
Jackie Steele, Your Honor.
Jackie Steele. And your co-counsel in this case
Is Ms. Randy
is
Dowd?
assigned to the Attorney General's office.
That's correct.
And that's Randy
Man, her microphone is terrible.
Dowd.
Or she doesn't have one.
And she is in trial elsewhere.
She is up in Green, Your Honor.
Correct.
Yes.
All right, we're here this morning for arraignment purposes. All right, counsel, have you had the opportunity to review the indictment?
We have, Your Honor. We've taken a look at the indictment. We got an electronic copy, I believe, on Friday.
Yes. Do you desire to waive any of it,
We'll waive a formal reading and enter a not guilty plea at this time, Judge.
and you're satisfied with this?
A not guilty plea?
You what?
You are on video doing it. How are you going to plead not guilty?
Stines is aware of his rights,
Yes, Your
the
Honor.
nature and substance of this murder charge.
Absolutely, Your Honor. Yes. Judge, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt the court. We've filed a notice to preserve all evidence, and I have no doubt that Mr. Steele will do that. We filed that down in district court. I just want to renew that, and I will file a written notice as well, Your Honor. And I would just ask the court to go ahead and enter a discovery order.
No objection to the preservation, Your Honor.
All right. And in terms of the discovery order, I understand that it is your intention to deliver discovery to defense counsel within 7 to 10 days.
That is correct, Your Honor. Ms. Dallin actually has that. We didn't know when the arraignment's going to be, and they got opportunity for me to get it from her at the time.
Fantastic. That works for us, Judge.
All right. No entry of plea of not guilty. You will note, counsel, my original intention in this case was to review bond for purposes of issuing the warrant of arrest.
Yes, Your Honor.
And in this case, I went ahead and set a no bond.
Yes, Your Honor.
This was the district court's after significant consideration, given the implications of Marcy's law, community safety concerns, security concerns, the fact that the defendant is in fact charged with a capital offense, together with provisions of Rule 402, paragraph 1.
I could barely hear what she's saying. But can you imagine how like terrified that lady must be? She must be like, oh hell, literally right behind me, this man took out the other version of me. That is crazy.
It shall not be admitted to bond at this time.
Yes, Your Honor.
That will be a matter of trial. Anything else covered in the next?
Can you imagine what she must be thinking?
Oh, absolutely, Judge. And I believe that my understanding was that the court simply doesn't want to take up bond at this time, but we can still file an adversarial bond.
You have every right to file for an adversarial bond hearing. We can act without thinking more competent for the trial judge in this area. Anything else at this time?
No, Your Honor.
So if we call Your Honor.
I will ask that everyone be seated and remain seated until the defendant is escorted out of the court.
May we be excused for the
It's my understanding this is so correctly. So the answer to one of them.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sympathy free the sheriff, right?
All right, there it is. Arraignment, as always, quick. You know, entered a plea of not guilty and then escorted out of the courtroom where back in the day he was running security in that courthouse. And oh
That's
my
the
God,
crazy
this case
part right
is
there.
just, there's so much intrigue with it. You have these two guys that were buddies, a sheriff and a judge. They go to lunch. Then sheriff wants to talk to judge in his chambers, and there's this weird interaction with the sheriff's possible daughter on the cell phone.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen? We'll find out eventually.
I mean, it's just so interesting because he goes to talk with the judge and nobody even thinks anything of it. He's just going to go back to his chambers and converse with him like they did all the time. So no one suspects anything.
And then you see that surveillance video, and it is just boom, gets out the gun and just shoots him dead and chases him down
Unreal.
underneath the desk. Matthew Mangino's with us. We don't know a lot yet. We know enough to make us want to know more, and it's very interesting. At trial, this whole thing's going to come out, though, right? The motive here. And that's really, I would think, the only defense, because that video is the video he basically executed his buddy.
Right. I mean, this
Literally.
is a
terrible.
strange situation. You know, there's no reason why this should happen, except something triggered Shawn Stines to
Pun intended.
shoot his friend who he went to lunch with earlier in the day. So you know, obviously, because of that, there's so much interest in this case. You know, what would motivate, what triggered, what set off the sheriff that he would walk into the judge's office, his friend, and as you said, summarily execute him. You know, when they were out to lunch together earlier in the day. It's really something that's captured the attention of the entire country.
Man, can you imagine? You ordered the last fish and chips special. I wanted the fish and chips. I'm going to take care of you in your chambers.
How dare you?
Insane. YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. TikTok, hit the follow button if you're new here. Keep tapping the screen like crazy. Thank you. And y'all, hit me with these notice me thingies. That's what TikTok wants right now. And you guys know they're mad as hell at this channel. Right there, right there, right there.
Country.
And Ted, you were mentioning the daughter. Why don't we go ahead and play? This is from one of his initial court appearances, and this is the detective kind of talking
Skeeter, this is from the arraignment that happened today. So
about the daughter. Let's play that, and then Matthew on the other side will talk about it.
I was told that Sheriff Stines had tried to call his daughter, and he had tried to call his daughter from the judge's phone also.
So, have you obtained the phone records from Judge Mullins' phone?
I don't have those in my possession yet, no.
Okay, have you issued a search warrant for them?
Yes.
Okay. And have officers confirmed that the sheriff's daughter's phone number was on Judge Mullins' phone?
Yes. Okay. So, yes.
So that number had been called from Judge Mullins' phone?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
oh hell, see that man, come on, that sheriff went, oh really,
So you hear him talking about the daughter. Defense counsel has argued that Stines was in the midst of an extreme emotional disturbance. They really are saying a more appropriate charge would be manslaughter. Matthew, what do you think?
Well, that it could evolve into that.
right?
Again, based on what we learned from the circumstances on that day, the telephone, the contact with the daughter. We know that manslaughter is typically a charge when you do something in the heat of passion. That you act out in some way because of what you've learned, because of what you're confronted with, that gets you to the point where you take lethal force to deal with it. So it's going to be interesting to see what we learn, about the daughter, about the phone calls, about the reasons behind it, about the reasons that his daughter's number is in the judge's phone. So these are all issues that are going to be explored and ultimately are going to give us.
Can you imagine that being like, hey man, can I see your phone? I got to call my daughter. And her contact is already in there.
You what?
Oh man, that would be crazy.
Some finality to why this tragic incident happened.
And from a defense perspective, as long as they have those lesser includeds as an option, they can go ahead and basically argue to a jury that this should be manslaughter if they're not successful at pretrial, to argue with the prosecution and judge to drop the charge, or drop them lower. A jury's going to have the final say here, correct, Matthew? Regardless of what the state says in terms of charging.
Well, right. It would appear that, ultimately this case is going to be either, obviously there could be a plea, but, this case is going to end up in front of a jury to make that decision about, what offense is appropriate in this case. And, the defense will be able to present evidence to substantiate that this is, more like an issue of manslaughter, than it is of first-degree murder. But that's going to have to be substantiated by evidence that's going to be presented to a jury. Obviously, if that evidence is compelling, the prosecution, the state may come back and try to work this matter out in terms of a plea. And maybe they don't want all the dirty laundry to be aired in public, and this is a way of resolving the case short of a trial.